Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Quick look here again at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. This is interesting stuff here. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this, the macro and the micro today. I kind of just double checked both ins before the weekend starts. And a lot of that kind of hinges on, well, Bitcoin dominance. It is on the increase here, of course. A lot of altcoins are starting to sell off. This is kind of that natural progression with the price action kind of being very hesitant to pass through this 52K range. But also just simply put, people are taking profits from altcoins and putting it into Bitcoin. That's generally the concept. So either way, if we look at that, we're going to also double check a few things too on the larger time frames as well. We're going to discuss the 0.618 fib level and a few other key factors. So if you're new to the channel, just know I am not a financial advisor. I truly do love teach people to trade. I hope you can learn something today. If you do want to learn a lot more, again, cryptocash.tech is a site linked down below. We got some pretty awesome, signals here that we just took recently. So really good profits for our community. Happy that's working out well for everyone. Okay, so let's talk about the last 7 days here. We're going to double check a couple things. This last 7 days of liquidation, we can see it's pretty much a mess, right? Nobody knows where it's going. When you see this amount of liquidation everywhere, it's like there's not really quite a definitive understanding of where it's going to go. And nobody should know right now because it's really one of those strange places. You know, is it going to drop off a cliff? Is it going to shoot to the moon? It's kind of one of those things where people are kind of scared. I get it. I'm a little timid too as far as taking a bunch of long positions because it does feel like the price is going to pull back. We do have a short position open with Bitcoin. We've taken some profit already. But the question is, are we going to keep that open? Well, let's double check here. So 53,100 is the next key level. And then, of course, heavy concentration. That's moving up. It was, oops, sorry, I double clicked too hard. I think I broke it. Okay, here we go. Let's go back. This changed from before. We were at about 46,000, 46.5 as a heavy concentration. That's moved up since. Of course, as the price starts to mature itself at higher levels, the liquidation levels will change, okay? Having said that, we can see roughly about 47,000 is a really close approximate of where the heaviest accumulation of essentially is for Bitcoin, okay? In other words, a lot of people believe the price is going to go up, and a few people are starting to believe the price is going to go down, okay? That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the overall sense, but that just kind of gives us an idea of where the liquidation levels are at. And that's going to be relevant here in a minute. So let's talk about bigger picture here. I know this is the week hasn't closed yet, but still want to kind of touch on this because there's a lot of hoopla right now about the 0.618 fib level and how everyone's mind is blown that we're above that level. It was supposed to reject hard at 49,000 or 48.6 is a very close approximate to where that 618 fib level is. Now, 0.618, if you're not familiar, is the most consistent Fibonacci retracement level in trading. It's extremely common, even more prevalent in traditional trading and traditional markets. So when I used to trade stocks, futures, ETFs, all those things, 0.618 was a very common retracement level. Occasionally you get that 0.65, but 0.618 for the most part seems to be most common. So most people were expecting rejection at that level. And now that the weekly candlestick is closed, it's kind of hard to see. But generally speaking, here is that level of 0.618. The weekly candlestick, sorry, hasn't closed yet, but it's seeming fairly indicative we're going to close above that level unless we see a massive drop this weekend. So the consensus is that traditional Bitcoin movements are invalidated. In other words, the previous cycles are invalidated because it was supposed to reject there and come down much lower. Okay. So a lot of times it comes down to that 0.382 level. That's why people are expecting 35, 36K. So I got news for you folks. The probability is pretty low. It's still a possibility, but it's very unprobable, if you will. Okay, so, or improbable, I think that's a better term, the right word. But the concept here, if the price were to pull back, just to give you perspective, we could see 42 to 36,000 as a worst case scenario. I don't personally subscribe to that just because we have a 1, 2, 3 so far. Doesn't mean our fourth wave down is going to be that significant. The key takeaway is that it has to be above this most recent high for our first wave, which is 32K. All right, so that's generally the concept there. Again, that's just the weekly. Everything else, let's look at, and I'll explain as I go along what I mean by why that's all relevant. Okay, so again, taking a big picture here. Look, we can see stochastic RSI swinging up. We can see we got money flow index is also extremely high, 98. That is. Wow, that's a lot of money flowing into the coin. And what do you know? Ever since the Bitcoin ETF, we've seen tons of money flowing in and out of the coin. Initially, it flowed out quickly, and now it's flowing back up because the whales got a better average price down at the low 40,000 range. I was super happy to fill my bags at 39 to 40K. Okay, so again, I'm not upset with that. But at this point, I feel like I missed out on the 45 to 50K range because I was expecting a little bit of a pullback. It didn't pull back, continued higher. So having said that, Where are we at here? Well, we're over 70 on the RSI, quite significantly, by the way. We're at about 81, 82, so that is a pretty significant overextension. That really leads us to believe that the price should pull back. A natural correction should occur. Right? That's just kind of how it's supposed to work. We've also got a couple of doji candles forming here too. So I know it's kind of hard to see with all the colors on the chart, but generally speaking here, when you see two doji candles forming, that's usually a sign for reversal. Again, today's candlestick, we've got 7 hours left. I'm not saying we're going to close a doji, but if we close at just say 51,900 or 52K, for example, then there's a solid chance we're going to see the price pull back. Okay? Mainly because anytime, not anytime, it's not like it's definitive, but in my experience, anytime I've seen a double doji candle, it typically reverses itself. Okay. Again, it basically just implies that there's indecision for about a 48-hour period, and that inevitably the whales are unable to push the price action any further, and they're going to give way. They're going to take profit, and the price pulls back. Okay. So I'm not screaming the price is going to come down. It would just make more sense for it to do so now, being overextended for 9 days in a row, and then having two doji candles telling us there's indecision at this level. Okay. Taking a look here quickly at the 4-hour time frame. This is something that's shifted since. When we took our short and took profit on our short position here recently from Bitcoin, I think it wasn't a super massive amount, by the way. It was only like a 10% play in 3 hours. Okay, so again, it was just a quick scalp, and please do not read into the short call, folks. I prefaced it letting you know there was just some bearish divergences on Bitcoin. The reason why I'm mentioning that now and reaffirming that is because the bearish divergences were stochastic RSI swinging down. It was 70 on the RSI coming, the RSI dropping below 70. Now, money flow index being under 50, that's not a fantastic sign, but we're still over 50 on the RSI. So again, we got some decent support, but the truth is here, we're starting to see a stochastic swing to the upside now, letting us know that it would make sense for the price to leg up now, considering it's held this range for this long, right? Again, conflicting information. So it kind of sucks because you can't get a definitive okay, I know for sure this price is going to go this way. It's almost a flip of a coin at this point, just because we got some some macro, some micro, some in between, so to speak. It all looks favorable in certain lights, but it depends on what light you're looking at. If you look at a smaller time frame move here, for example, though, you can summarize that the price action is due for a correction here, mainly because we've seen a full 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern on smaller time frames. Okay. Now again, is this a definitive direction teller? No, but if it does pull back, it would be fantastic to see this, because not only would we take profit further on our current trade that's open, it would reset some of the altcoins to allow for us to be able to find much better entry targets. Okay. So we kind of want this to happen. Is that going to happen? No. Do you get what you want in trading? Heck no. Very rarely. That's why you got to celebrate the wins, right? I mean, like me, for example, I was really happy about our VeChain 316% in 4 months. I don't know. Some people dismiss that, but I love waiting that long for a good trade. Okay? I love waiting that long for a decent trade too, but that's just me personally. Again, I like to have a lot of irons in the fire. What I'm getting at here, though, with Bitcoin is that 50,000 to 51,000 seems probable at this point. Anything lower would just be egregious, because we do have a lot of support here at the 50K mark. And we've talked previously too, and because I don't know if you caught this, but these two lines here, these strong, these are strong resistance slash support levels based on weekly closures. And these are older ones too, but they are still valid. In other words, almost exactly 51,000 and almost exactly 52,000. Okay, so you could pretty much say 51.1 and 52.2. Those are 52.1 and 51.1. Yeah, it's hard to say those words, sorry. But generally speaking here, this is the range that we can expect the price to kind of be range bound. When we lose that range, we can presume that 50,000, 51K could be the new resistance. But I personally subscribe to the fact that the price action is due for a slightly larger correction here. I wouldn't say massive, but it could continue. Now, if we do look at some confirming factors here, we can see lagging span is within the price section. It's kind of messy now. When the price gets within the range, Ichimoku cloud is less relevant as far as the conversion line and the lagging spans. So all those things put together, we can still summarize that we're still above the upper lead or within the upper lead, and that the lower lead is essentially holding the price action in place. So to me, if the price cannot surpass 52K, by this time tomorrow, perhaps, then we're going to be in a situation where it would make more sense for the price to pull back. Okay. So again, is this definitive? Is it 100%? No. I really wish it was, but that's just kind of the cards that you're dealt with trading. And again, 9 times out of 10, when you have a situation like this, what do? You don't take a trade. It's generally what you're supposed to do, because patience is a virtue, and it effectively helps you a lot in trading. Okay, so me personally, I've got a lot of good long signals I want to send out to my community, and I'm just holding off and waiting for Bitcoin to pull its head out of its ass. And to me, a successful head pull out of one's ass would be coming down to about 50 to 51,000 and essentially consolidating before the next leg up. That would make the most sense. Once more, we never truly know. So to me at this point, I think no trade is a good trade. That's just kind of how I've always been, and that's mainly the main reason why my traders don't get destroyed. So again, please, if you are utilizing my signals, please read through the signals guide. It's available on our Discord. It's provided as an attachment on our website as well. So just make sure you read through it so you understand. Day trades, folks, if you're beating your head against the wall day trading too much, maybe it's just not a good fit for you, and that's okay. I don't love day trading anymore, even though my strategy is pretty successful. I just don't like sitting there all day looking at the charts. I'd much rather analyze the charts all day and find good opportunities for my members. Whatever. It's just, 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. So that's kind of where we're at there, folks. I'll post this playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. I hope you learned something here today. Thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, quick heads up, we are working on a trading competition for Bitunix, no KYC or VPN. If you use my link to register, you'll be eligible for that and this deposit reward. It's really awesome. So be sure to check them out. Thanks again, Bitunix. And thank you, too, for liking, subscribing, and following. We'll see you next one. Take care.